at 5 minutes and 35 seconds, we are going to have Truth saying, I like the route you took after you capped A in the second round. I think that's one thing the Digital Warfare 24/7 guys lack when playing with them is spacing. It's a key thing in many COD game modes, and the guys from Digital Warfare 24/7 just don't do it like I do it with my friends. But you went the opposite direction of the pile of green arrows that went directly for B. That is something that I think I brought up a little bit earlier in this commentary, is that, yeah, I like to distance myself from my teammates off spawn, usually because they're going to give away my position, and they might be running somewhat more obvious routes, and I want to be able to surprise the enemy from behind. Now, there is definitely a need for people to go up the middle, because you have to have that presence in the center of the map. It's like an opening game of chess where you move your pawns out into the middle of the map, and I just realized that sounds absolutely terrible because I'm saying that my teammates are pawns, so I'm just going to move on and let's not talk about that. At 5:45, Archer says, I like the flank as you're with a team you can trust to at least prevent the enemies from taking B, if not taking it themselves. So again, Archer is saying there that it is good, definitely, that people are pushing up the middle to secure B. So we are going to roll it here. And now we are going to see the spawns have flipped back to C, and I am going to be pushing up here. This is a really interesting flank. This is on both sides of the map, these sets of pipes. You can come from a really unexpected angle, but I do want to get that a little bit smoother so I'm not sort of fumbling that route quite as much. Now, right around here, 6:24 to 6:23, Archer is saying, really nice the way you performed in that little building. I like how you just popped out briefly to get a peek at their home flag. The only thing you did wrong in there, not reload. Uh-oh. And what does that mean? It means we're going to be hearing from Mason G again. And indeed, here he is. He says, now if we pause at 6:31 and Dano is patrolling the same room between B-Dom and C-Dom, he has just landed a double kill, but this time he decides against the reload and cover and goes out the door. He bumps into two enemies, kills one of them, but the other one kills him while he is in the middle of an automatic reload due to the clip being empty. Had he got the reload in while in the room like he did previously, he means in the last round, I'm sure he would have taken both those guys out there, and there are another 3 guys coming up the ramp. Now, we can't say for sure if he would have killed those 3 guys, but he would have given himself the best chance to do so if he had had a full magazine. Another really good comment from Mason there regarding my bullet management. Right around 6:34 here, Archer says, you would have done a little bit better there with more than 14 rounds. That's all I have to say. Yep, I definitely freaked out a little bit there. I did not do a good job with that engagement. So at 6:53 coming up here pretty soon as I lead into their spawn with the EMP and a C4 that takes out the LMG guy, Archer is going to say, I would have actually sat at that FBI truck for a little bit longer and healed. You don't and you die. Get wrecked. Actually, he may have known where you were and would have just killed you at the FBI truck, but it's still what I would have done. So Archer's saying he would have hung out at the FBI truck a little bit longer instead of pushing in. You can see I was really low on health there. Again, that's a thing that Nine Notes Knives mentions in the commentary that he sent me, is that I don't wait to recover my health for long enough. And that is definitely a valid point. So let's keep it rolling here as the enemies are spawning at C and I'm moving up here. This is just a pathetic play by me. Absolutely pathetic, and I deserve to be called out for this in a really bad way, and it's no surprise that 2 of the people that commented on my gameplay both had something to say about this. Archer says, it's called a head glitch because you're supposed to put your head over it, Dano, not under it or not out along the side with your entire effing body. You should not have crouched, you should not have moved to the left, you should have just retreated. And furthermore, I'd like to emphasize that this is the same LMG guy that has killed me before, so there's really no excuse for my not anticipating that guy being there. And Truth has this to say about it. He says, awful shooting, and you moved away from the barrels, which I think was providing a head glitch for you. Tough distance to kill with the MSMC, and it seemed like you took any advantage you had away when by not moving back and forth. It's a really good call. I just moved in one predictable direction. I moved out from behind cover. I think I was just flustered. I didn't know what to do. Obviously, the best thing to have done would have been to have retreated, but a lot of times I get into this mentality where I feel like I always have to be moving forward, so just to maybe be a little bit more calm under those circumstances and not abandon my cover just to try to get a shot on that guy. Probably my worst play of the game, in my opinion. So at this point, I think I'm getting a little flustered because I started off so well this game, and I really wanted to make a really good score. It ends up still being decent, but it could have been a lot better. Right there, you see my just making a pretty stupid move, running straight up the middle. Archer says lol, Truth says lol, just not thinking, and that's a valid assessment right there. I was really angry at that last death, and here you see me picking up another stupid death. Archer says don't get shot around corners. At 7:47, Archer has this to say. He says, don't pull your knife out unless it's at the very beginning of a game and you know what you're doing, ever. I don't care if you get somewhere a quarter of a second faster, you're going to die a lot more. That's always bugged me about how you always advocate running with a knife out when I think it's just a horrible idea. Just have your gun up and shoot people. Well, I think that's a pretty valid statement there, Archer, because I did spawn pretty far away from the starting spawn point, and yeah, not having my gun out in that situation, and in general, the theme of not being aware of the possibility of enemies being close to my spawn, that might just have a little bit to do with my lack of knowledge about the spawns on Detour, but it's also just my not being careful. So Archer's right. You have to temper the advantage you can get from faster mobility with the possibility of getting killed. And right there was really no reason for me to need faster mobility. It's not like I was rushing for a flag or rushing to get somewhere. It was just a reaction. It's something I do when I spawn in to make myself feel like I'm already getting into what I'm doing there. So we're going to roll the footage here. An increasingly frustrated Dano is going to die once again. Oh, Dano. I hear that they're losing Charlie and losing A, so I figure I'm going to head back over here and see what I can take out. I do manage to take that guy off of B, take that guy off. It looks like I am back on track at least a little bit here. Pretty soon we're going to have Archer weighing in again as I am making my way through the middle, and I'm coming over here to set up at A. I think I did a really good job picking that guy off in the trailer, and now we are going to hear from Archer once again. Archer says at 8:22, small thing here, I would recommend getting in the ice cream truck to call in that strike just to be safer. That's always a good call. I do think that they were spawning pretty hard at C though, and I had a lot of teammates around, so I'm not sure that was quite the biggest deal, but still, it's a valid assessment right there. So I'm going to call that lightning strike in, and I believe I'm going to pick up a good number. Yeah, a nice little triple kill. So that's going to get me a little bit more energized, and look at me, I'm back flanking the right side instead of blindly pushing up the middle. So it's funny how getting a couple kills will calm me down if I've been on a really bad streak. I can be like, okay, alright, now right there, that was just a really, really bad play. And all Archer has to say here is learn to shoot, nub. So what I'm actually going to do is talk a little bit about this myself. So I knew from throwing that EMP grenade up there that there were enemies up there rather, and I knew from my minimap at the point where I was running up that there were going to be 3. I should have stopped at that construction barrel and used that as a head glitch instead of pushing right in. This is sort of similar to that play I made earlier where I just jumped out from behind cover. Just really clumsy, too aggressive, and not something that I'm overly proud of. So that's something that I was surprised that that the guys critiquing me didn't maybe bring up a little bit more. So as I'm spawning back in here, I'm going to lead up the middle with my trademark EMP again, and I'm going to make pretty good use of that cover there. And I think somebody has something to say about that, don't they? Yeah, Archer says, really nice job there using that little head glitch to make yourself a harder target as you took those guys out. Very professional play right there. And now as we get it going again, I kind of lost my train of thought because I was scrolling through my list of comments and I messed up where I was, but we are going to pause it again at 9 minutes and 7 seconds. Trust and Truth is going to weigh in here. He says sometimes you just have to get your hands dirty and just hop on B. I think at that point you were standing beside it, but definitely should have helped your teammates grab it quick to regain the advantage over the opposition. In this case, Truth, yeah, we aren't really up by that much. It's it's 158 or 168 to 125, so there's still definitely a chance that the enemy team is going to come back here. And yeah, just jump on B to help out my teammates. I do see 3 people on my minimap there, so I think they would have capped it pretty fast. Maybe I wasn't thinking I could get on it in time as we get things rolling again here. Now, right there, I pick up a triple spray, and we are going to have Archer weighing in on that. He says, amazing job here, using that shit on the right as cover and then taking out those 3 enemies. I love how you kept moving and then hit the deck. Great work there. It's not easy taking out 3 enemies facing you. Thank you, Archer, and I could definitely use a comment right now because I've been beating myself up pretty bad about some of these mistakes I've been making in the last half. And right as I seem to get on track, there I go jump shotting, and I'm going to pause here at 9 minutes 35 seconds. There I go jump shotting out on that LMG user, and again, I'm so frustrated with that LMG user at this point because he's been killing me from behind cover. I'm like, here, I'll show you how a real SMG player plays. I'm going to jump out here and I'm going to shoot you. Archer says, your jump shot blows. Jump and then aim quicker. Doesn't really matter, though. That dude was far away and would have killed you anyways. You should have gone around and flanked him on your left a little. There were lots of enemies in the middle, so I don't know how this would work out. Or just get the fuck away. That's a good call, Archer. I think that was a bad route for me to run, and obviously I'm being too aggressive in that case. So let's keep it rolling here. I'm going to be trying to get a couple kills as this game is winding down. It's 183 to 128, so I am looking pretty good as I am moving up towards CDOM. I see that guy on my radar to my right. I'm going to look over there, and I'm going to pick him off as he's on BDOM. Now, I dipsy-doodle around this guy and manage to pick him off here. And pretty soon we're going to have Archer weighing in what I think is one last time. And then we're going to talk about some general sort of closing comments. Archer says, coming up pretty soon here, he says, you just walked at an enemy and a grenade while reloading. Yeah, you might want to avoid that. That's a good call, Archer, and thank you a bunch for your comments. So I'm going to talk a little bit now. Mason has some commentary just about the map in general. He says, let's see what he says here. He says, I have yet to play this map as I'm on PS3, but that room between C and B DOM certainly worked well for you. In a few games I've watched, this is certainly going to be a hot spot, as well as that ramp next to it. When the enemies respawning at C, they choose the ramp to get to B more than the other routes from what I have seen. That's a great observation, Mason, and that's something that you can definitely take advantage of on this map. He goes on to say, another thing I noticed in this match in particular is that I don't think you landed any capture kills, or if you did, it was only a few. Without blowing my own trumpet, I'm quite good at anticipating teammates that are near the flag and arriving at the scene ADS ready. I think that you had done that a couple times on BDOM in particular, paying attention to the ramp mentioned. You could have gotten yourself some nice capture kills. So that's a good point. That's something that I don't think I stress enough in my objective gameplay, is to make the use of the objective capture radius to bump up the number of points that I'm getting. So that's a good call there from Mason. And let's have some overall analysis here from Archer. He says, you want to know why you went from a little over a 4 KD in the first half to just about a 2 KD in the second half? It's not really that much of your fault. The team as a whole just lost some ground, and this took a toll on everybody's KD. What was your fault was your lack of caution at some points, and I think that's a very fair assessment. I also think my frustration at not being able to do well off of my VSAT played into that a lot as well. He's getting on me about my class. He says, you did change halfway through. You dropped cold-blooded for flak jacket and extended mags for fast mags. I did that just because, yeah, I realized that, well, I thought I was getting like a really superb gameplay, so I was like, to keep this going, I'm going to drop cold-blooded. I don't want to be grinding for challenges right now. Care to elaborate notices that in the second half you had a tendency to blindly throw C4 and EMPs when you spawn and it gets wasted, and there are other times where it would have been really useful for you to have it. I think that's a really valid assessment. Care to elaborate? I think a lot of the time I just get into a routine. When I spawn, I switch and fool around with my knife a little bit. I throw out an EMP, maybe throw out a C4. These are things that I'm just starting to do out of habit now rather than out of necessity, and I need to change that in myself. So that pretty much sums up all of the commentary that I got. I'd just like to really thank everyone who went out of their way to write me up some critiques for me to use in this episode. And next week, you can be assured that I am going to be coming to you guys with some more Tactical Tuesday, this time evaluating some others' gameplay. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.